What is up, everybody? This is Kazi from cleverprogrammer.com, and you're watching Codecademy Part 8. Alright, so let's get started. Today, I got my coffee in a Starbucks coffee thing. This is going to be, I'm actually really excited. So, we are at 35% in the Python course. And we're doing really well. So let's keep going, all right? We are still in lists and dictionaries, okay, at 42%. If you took the initiative to go ahead and do more in the time between, great job. But we're going to keep moving on. And also, it's amazing you've made it so far and haven't quit, right? So winners never quit and quitters never win. Keep going. Make sure you finish the entire series in the tutorial. That's why I'm here sitting next to you, and we're going through this together. All right. So, maintaining order. Let's see what they're talking about here. All right. Sometimes you need to search for an item in a list. So, sometimes you need to search for the item. All right. Here's what they're kind of talking about. Okay, let's go to REPL.it. Let's say that this was a really big list with a bajillion things in it, and I told you, what location does the duck come in? I mean, you could easily count it right now and go, well, aardvark is in position 0, badger is in position 1, and so duck is actually in position 2. So you would say, if I did animals of 2 and printed that, that would give me duck, and you would be right. However, if this was a really long list with a bajillion items, it would be really hard for you to know where duck falls, right? You wouldn't be able to count it that easily, eyeball it. So one good trick to do to figure out where duck falls is to do animals.index. Okay, this is a method called index, and we are gonna put in these parentheses right here. If I move the print away, it will look like this, and we will say duck. So basically you're saying, hey, give me the index at which duck is at, okay? So it'll tell you the index, the first place duck is found. So imagine if you had 2 ducks, if you had another duck right here, it would find this one and return it to you. So let's go ahead and show you how it actually works. I'm gonna go boom, boom, and let's change the name of that to this. Run it. Okay, you see how it gave you back a 2? So effectively what you can do is you can say animals. This whole thing turns into a 2, right? This whole thing converts to a 2. So what we can say animals, instead of saying animals at index 2, I can say give me the animal name at this index. Obviously it's going to give me back a duck, because this whole thing is going to turn into a 2, and animals of 2 is duck. Cool. Alright, let's keep moving on. So duck index. Use index to find duck. Simple. Animals.index duck. Boom. Your code here, print animals. Okay, assign that result to a variable called duck index. Assign that result, then insert the string cobra at that index. Okay, cool. So let's see how that works. Okay, let's take this whole thing and put it in here. Okay, now if I print out duck index, you see that I get back a 2. Now if I do if I do animals.insert, right? And how does insert work? Insert takes in two arguments, okay? Index, this method insert takes in 2 arguments. It takes index and an item. So you give it a position and you give it what you want to put in there, and then it puts that thing in there. Okay. So I'm gonna say, for now I'm gonna say 2, and I'm gonna say Cobra, or in all small letters. And then I'm gonna print out the list of animals. All right, so you can see that at position 2, now it inserted Cobra and shifted everything 1 over. So now duck is actually 3, EMU is 4, and so on. Cool. Another way we can insert, instead of putting this 2, is we can just do animals dot index duck, and this whole thing will evaluate to a 2, or we can just use duck index because we already created that variables, and that should do the same thing. So you see that list over there. Now let's go back here and do that. So we're going to do animals dot index duck index. So that's insert duck index, and for the item we're going to say Cobra. Boom. And it's going to print animals. So let's check it out. Aardvark badger in position 2, we got Cobra. Okay, excellent. Let's keep going. For one and all, for number in my list. Oh, these are so fun. Finally, we get to loops. Yes. I can't remember if we did loops earlier, but loops are so fun. They're literally the reason why I love programming. Every time I try to sit down and write something, I just want to start off with the loop. Okay? They're the best part. So, write a statement. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I'm vain, right? That was just my picture of me playing pool. I'm terrible at pool. Just kidding. I'm better than myself when I used to play earlier. So if that gives you any point of reference. Anyways, write a statement in the indented part of the for loop that prints a number equal to 2 times the number for every item in the list. Let's see how loops work. Let's get some practice with loops. Loops are amazing, you guys. So learn them, and learn them well. Okay, so here's how loops start, okay? For, okay, this is a for loop. For blah, 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 it doesn't matter. In my list. Print that blah, 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 which is what I'm gonna copy and paste here. And how a loop works is it'll run, and the first time it runs, blah, 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 this whole thing right here will be 1. Then when it runs the second time, it'll be 9. Then when the loop runs the third time, it'll be 3. Then it'll be 8. Then it'll be 5. And it'll be 7. And then after 7, you see that there are no more numbers. And so that entire loop stops. So the loop knows when the list or whatever you're running through is completed. So here, all of the items are completed, and so it'll stop running at that point. Okay, so I'm going to run this. You're going to see it prints out 1, 9, 3, 8, 5, 7. Okay, this part here is the part that ends up becoming a number. So I'm going to call it number because that's a much better name than blah, 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 blah. But why I showed you the whole weird part was so you can understand that you don't have to put in the variable name that they tell you. You can put in whatever you want, right? This variable name here literally does not matter. Cool? Comprende? All right, let's keep going. So for number in my list, the first time the loop happens, the number is 1, and then we go to line 4 and it prints out that number and you get 1. Then the loop runs again because it sees there's another item. The list is not yet over. And so we get so number is then 9, and then this ends up printing out 9. The loop continues running. This part becomes 3, so then this part becomes 3, and it prints it out. So you get a 3 here. Then this part becomes an 8. This part becomes an 8, and you see all that printed right there. And it keeps happening till it's 7. This part becomes 7. It prints out 7, and then it knows automatically that the list has ended. You don't have to do anything special. It knows that the list has ended, and so the loop stops running. Some languages don't do that. You have to kind of tell it like, hey, run for this many amount of times. In C, I think you have to do that in C++. But in Python, it just takes care of it for you, okay? So this coffee is so good. For fail bug, this is a double tall skinny latte, sugar-free hazelnut with heavy cream milk. So go to Starbucks and get this. There's no carbs, and it gives you that right amount of espresso so your brain gets going, and then you can program away all day. Anyways, tangents. We don't like tangents. Let's keep going. So you just learned how basic loops work. Now let's do what they're saying. Write a statement in the indented part of the for loop that prints a number equal to 2 times that number. So we are going to say print 2 times that number. Simple. Simple. There we go. We just got a badge, you guys. 100 exercises. Let's keep going. We're a machine. We're nobody. There's ain't no stopping us, right? So we got 2, right? So number was 1, and 1 times 2 is 2, and it print out 2. You see it right there. Then number was 9, right? I know loops can be confusing at first, so that's why I'm really going through it in detail. And if you're too smart and you're like, this is boring, feel free to skip ahead. I don't care. But I really want to go through it because don't take this for granted. If you really understand this well, you're going to understand a lot of what programming is about. So it's really important to understand the basic concepts really well, like the back of your hand. Cool. So 2 times 9, that's how you get 18. And I'm just going to explain one more number. When we get to the last item of the list, 7 right here, 2 times 7, you get 14. And that's how you get 14 right there. And then it ends because it knows that the list is completed automatically. Let's keep going. Okay. So more with for loop. So now they're having you do more with for loop. So if your list is a jumbled mess, you may need to sort it. So an example of sorting is like this, okay? If I have animals and I do animals.sort and I print out animals, it's going to be sorted alphabetically, which means the ant is going to be the first one. Since bat starts with a B, that's going to be the second item. And cat is going to end up being the third one. So let's look at it. Ant, bat, cat. Got it? If we had numbers instead, like 3, 1, and 2, you'll see that it says 1, 2, 3. Okay? So sorting knows what to do. It sorts it. So then your life is easier. And then you can print out those things or whatever, right? Cool. For animal in animals, print animal. Okay, this is a very simple thing to do. So I can show you right here. Simple loop. For animal in animals, I can call this whatever I want, right? But animal makes sense because the first time we go through the list, animal is going to be cat, and it's a string cat, right? And then is going to print out cat basically. Okay? And then it's going to print out, or sorry, since we were sorting the list, it's going to print out ant first because the new list actually looks like this, right? Bat and cat. So it's going to print out ant, then cat, this part, I'm sorry, it should actually be animal. Then animal is going to be bat, and so it's going to print out bat. Then animal is going to be cat, and it's going to print out cat. So let's take a look at it. Syntax error, yep, print. Okay, because this is Python 3. Again, one of those things, don't worry about it. But in Python 3, print is a function, so you have to put parentheses after it. You can see right here, ant, bat, and cat, okay? It works the same way with numbers as it works with strings or a lot of other data types. Floats, right? Write a for loop that iterates over start list and appends each number squared to square list. Easy, let's do it. And then square the list. All right, so here's an example of this. We're gonna take this thing and we're gonna create a square list and it's gonna be empty. This is a very common operation, so really get this one down and maybe make up some of your own silly or whatever kind of examples and do them. Here's what we're going to do. We have a start list, but what we want to be able to do is get a list that's squared of that one, right? So what's squared of 5? What's 5 squared? So I'm just going to do it. It's 25, right? 5 squared, 25. So this list should ultimately look like this. 3 squared is 9, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16. Okay? So start list is this, squared list should be like this. However, we got it empty, and let's use a loop to do it. Because what if these numbers were to change? Our code should run regardless of what these numbers are, right? The code that I start writing below line 3, it should be so smart that if somebody comes in and changes our line 1 and puts some different numbers in here, it should still be correct, right? So that's why you can't hard code it and put 25 and 9 and 1 and 4 and 16, because what if somebody comes here and just changes it and goes 4 and 5, and now it doesn't make sense. First of all, why do we have 5 numbers? Right off the bat, it's wrong. It should only have 2 numbers, and the first number should really be 16, and then it should be 25. None of the other numbers should be there. So we're going to write code that's going to be intelligent enough to do that. So we're going to start off with an empty list, and what we're going to do is for number in start list. So we're going to do a for loop, and what we're going to say is we're going to square each number. So I'm going to say square, that would be number squared. Instead of this, in Python we use this, right? That's for exponentiation. And then we are going to say square list dot append square, or let's call that variable squared number. Okay, so we're going to get a number. Let's say in the start, when we're looping through the start list, this is going to be a 5. Squared number is going to be really 5 squared in the start. This is going to turn out to be 25, and we're going to append 25 right here. We're going to put 25 here, and this 25 is going to go in this list, and we're going to get 25 right here. Okay, then when we go through the loop again, this is going to be 3. This thing is going to be 3 squared, which is going to get evaluated to 9. We're going to say append right here. We're going to say append 9. We're going to get 9 right here. Same thing. The next item in the list is what? It's 1, right? So we're going to get 1 squared. What's 1 squared? That's 1, right? I can prove it to you. 1 squared is 1. 1 cubed is 1. 1, 9, right? You get the point. 1, and then we get 1. That's how append works. Adding something to the end. Append. Append. Adding something to the end of the list. Cool. So I think you get the idea. This is going to be our algorithm, and let's go and put it right here, and that should work. Let's see. What's here? Squared number. Okay, so one thing we need to do, so this is obviously a squared number, and last thing we need to do is actually sort that list. So right now, if I do print square list, okay, right now if I do print square list, you'll see 25, 9, 1, 4, 16, which is what we wanted. But now what we're going to do is how would we square it, right? Sort, and then we're going to say print square list, and here, ta-da, look at that, right? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and put that in here. We should be good. Done. Beautiful. Check it out. Dictionaries. Then this next part is key. Okay, so there's a pun, because what we're going to be working with is dictionaries, and dictionaries hold something called key value pairs. Okay, so dictionaries. All right, what we have is a dictionary and holds key value pairs. So effectively, it's something like I can have, I don't know, Bob's social security number, or something more interesting, a phone number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, boom. Okay, and then I can have Joanne, and her phone number can be, they all have very simple and weird phone numbers, right? And I can have 1,000 people like this. Okay, so phone book. So this is called a dictionary. Bob here is the key, and this is the value, hence key value pairs, right? Now, if I wanted to get Bob's phone number or Joanne's phone number, imagine if it was a list of 1,000,000 people, if it was a dictionary with 1,000,000 people's names, and there was no way I can go and eyeball every single number and every single name. So what I would actually do is I would do phone book. So how it works is you do the dictionary, and then you put the key that you want, and the answer that you get is that value. Okay, so for example, if I put in the dictionary, which is the, okay, so the dictionary here is phone book, and if I index it by its key, which is Bob, right, what am I going to get? I'm going to get back Bob's phone number. Run. Key is not defined. Oh yeah, right here, to comment that out. Oh, because so the reason I got that is because it's thinking it's math. So what it did is 1, 2, 3 minus 4, 5, 6 minus 7, 8, 9, 0. So that's how it got negative 8,223. So it's a string, right? I'm just being silly. So I have to put this actually as a string. And now you get back exactly that. Okay, so that turned out to be a good example in showing you why you should use a string rather than the actual numbers. So you get back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and we got Bob's phone number. So this is really helpful. This is a lot of what's used in databases. That's how your iPhone works, okay? It's key value pairs. Literally, somebody programmed a dictionary in your phone. And so what happens is when you look for somebody's name, like if you want to call Jill and you type in her name, what the code in the background does is it does print phone book Jill, right? Whatever you put in there is here, right? This is what you type. So if you type in somebody's name, it pretty much goes in here. And if you do Jill, it'll give you back, you know, Jill's number, whatever it may be. So this is very relevant, right? Don't just think that this is some little baby stuff that we're doing on Codecademy. This is very relevant. If you learn this stuff, you can do mobile development, you can do app development, you can make your own apps. Okay, so already start thinking, churning that brain and getting some ideas, and you can actually start using these things. Think about recipes, right? You can actually make a cooking app based on this. You can have key value pairs. If the key is, I don't know, grilled salmon, then the value here maybe can be the steps on how to make that salmon, right? So it can be like, first, I suck at cooking, you know, take out the pan or something. And this could be grilled salmon. And then I can call this recipes. And let's take that out. And if I do recipes, am I spelling that right? Recipes. Yeah, I'm spelling that right. Okay. And if I put grilled salmon, well, check it out. It's telling me the steps. And what I can effectively do here is I can do a list of steps, right? So I can say And now I don't have to say first take out the pen. I can just say take out the pen. Then the next step is turn on the stove, right? And now when I do grilled salmon, you see it says take out the pan, turn on the stove, right? But let's say I wanted to get step 0, which is the first step. I can do 0 and I get take out the pan. If I do 1, I get turn on the stove. So you see, these are different data structures we're using. A dictionary, and we're using a list as a value of a dictionary key. But it's all coming into play. And, well, another thing that you could be thinking of is, what if I want to do a for loop here and print out each step one by one? I can certainly do that. I can say for recipe, or I can say for step in recipes, right? Print, I actually should rather be recipe, because that's really what's going to be printing in recipes. Print recipes, recipe, right? So this is the dictionary effectively, right? Because this is the dictionary. So this is the dictionary name, recipes. This is the key. So the first time you loop over, you get grilled salmon. Okay, just to show you, if I do recipe here and I loop through this, you get turn on the stove, you get, you get grilled salmon right here. Because this print statement doesn't matter. You get grilled salmon right there. Okay, which is the key. And if you put in a key into the dictionary, you get back the value, right? So I can do recipes, which is the dictionary. I put in that key and I get back the value. Right? Take out the pan, turn on the stove. Cool. And we can even really take that a step further and print out each of those things. Right? So I can go even deeper in my for loop and I can say for step in that, print step. And so take out the pan, turn on the stove. You see? So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but this is really me giving you, like foreshadowing for what's to come and how you can use this, and maybe giving you some ideas, and you can start developing your, developing your own apps or work on some cooler idea than just within the constraints of Codecademy, right? So this is how you really want to think. Start putting these things together, and this is advanced. 2 loops, loop within a loop. So we're not going to talk about this now, but it's just to give you an idea of the power of programming. Cool. Let's get back to this business. So here they're telling me key, value, right? You already know this stuff, easy. Print the value stored under the sloth and Burmese Python keys. Accessing dictionary values by key is just like accessing list values by index. So what they're effectively saying here is, if I hide or comment out all these lines, right? What they're effectively saying here is that if this was a list, you would say recipes and you would say maybe 0, and that would give you back grilled salmon. Or that might give you back, take out the pan or whatever. But in a dictionary, you actually put in the key instead of a number. Okay? And that's how you get back the value of that key. Okay? So, okay, cool. So now all we have to do is just print out those things. So I'm going to say print residence sloth, print residence, right? Dictionary, and then key Burmese Python. These are keys and these are values. Keys, value, key, and then value. That terminology is very important to know, okay? Please avoid yourself, if you ever catch yourself saying, oh yeah, it's just those squiggly things, and then it's something with the colon thingy, and then there's a thingy to the left of the colon thingy. Don't do that, because yeah, you might understand it, but if you're trying to look it up or you're trying to explain it to somebody else or you're trying to like learn it later and you want to research it, you're not going to be able to find it. So really understand the terminology. It's so important. Okay, so important. So remember, this is a dictionary. Anything that has those squiggly things around it, the first thing is a key, and then the second thing after the colon is a value. Now, not everything that starts with a squiggly is a dictionary. There are certain things called sets, but we'll get to that later. For now, anything with squigglies and colons, that's a dictionary. All right, let's keep moving on. Okay, so you see, residents of sloth, you get back 105. Residents of Burmese python, you get 106. New entries. So they want us to make a new entry in our dictionary. So let's say that we go back to like our phone number example. Well, what if we want to add somebody in? So again, we come to your phone, right? And you just made a new friend. Hooray! Now you want to get their phone number and put it in your phone. How do you do that? Well, you know, that's pretty simple. Go to contacts, put it in. But in the back end, in the programming way, what's happening is you're actually inserting something into the dictionary, so later it can be looked up very easily. So what we do, let's say we made a new friend named, I'm not very creative with names, am I? Johnny. Okay, and now we want to put Johnny into our phone book. So what we'll say, phone book, Johnny, and we're going to set this equal to the value 453, area code 453. I don't know where that is in the planet. Okay, so that's what it is. And now if we print out the phone book, you will see that you'll find Johnny in there. So the first thing we did is we got Bob's number, right? That we already know that. Now we added in Johnny right here, and you can see in this dictionary, now we have Johnny. So as soon as you add that contact information in, you're adding Johnny in there, okay? That's your key, and you add Johnny in there. Now when you want to look up Johnny's value, which is the phone number, so when you want to look up Johnny's phone number, you effectively do, that's all you have to do, okay? And that looks up Johnny's phone number, and you got it right there, 453-234-2345. Okay, so this is all related stuff, right? This is all related. Add at least 3 more key value pairs to the menu variable. So we're gonna add 3 more key value pairs. Cool, so menu. Cool, this is kind of like our example that we were doing with the restaurant, right? Let's add grilled salmon. I like grilled salmon. Is equal to, and we have to put a price, okay? So here, the key is grilled salmon and its value is the price. So we're gonna say it's 25 bucks. Let's add, I don't know, skirt steak and make that value 50 bucks. My friend just told me today that there's a great skirt steak place that he wanted to go with me, and it's 50 bucks there, so it's a little expensive. And we're gonna say soup, right? And soup is probably not that expensive, so you're gonna say $9.25. And let's do black bean soup because that's protein. And that should be good, right? So we got skirt steak, we got chicken Alfredo, which is what they put in earlier. You can see them using the trick with the dictionary and its key to get back the value 14.5. Then they did their 4 items on the menu. So how they did that is they said there are, then they did string concatenation with the plus sign, and they got the length of the menu, so you can call the len function on a dictionary. That gave them back a 4 because they added the first item right here, chicken Alfredo. Then we added 3 more items on line 6, 7, and 8. So we have had 4 items in the dictionary. So calling len on this dictionary called menu translated this into a 4, but 4 is an integer, so you can't concatenate that with a string. So you have to call the string function on that, which effectively turned it into a 4 like that. Okay? And then this string got put together and it says there are 4 items on the menu, and then it said print menu. So that's just simple. It said print the dictionary. We got skirt steak, $50, chicken Alfredo, 14.5, black bean soup, grilled salmon, and we are done. Okay, let's see how far we are. New entries. This video is getting a little longer, so I'm gonna end it right here. Great job, you guys, for making it this far. I will see you in the next video. All right, take care.